All right, everybody, we're back. The Nando Rome show. We're gonna do last week. I had some takes during the bye week, but things got in the way. It doesn't matter. We're back. The Eagles are back, and I think it was a better week. But we're gonna talk about it. What's up, Rome?
What's up? No, this is not Puck Talk, but yes, I am wearing Flyer stuff.
Yeah, well, Puck
For
Talk is
anyone
out
that's
already.
tuning in.
Puck Talk is out already. Flyer stuff is allowed because we do bring them up a little bit. Um, when they get going, because we talk about everything Philly. uh, Even though we focus more on the Eagles. But it comes up. Are you still over the Phillies?
Am I over it?
Yeah.
Like the ending?
Mm-hmm.
I'm over it now. My anger is going now towards like WIP media, fanatic, and fans and their
So we're
stupidity
kind of on the
towards the
same
press
page.
conference. The
We're gonna be on the
stupidity
same.
towards the press conference because they're do you really want me to jump into this right now?
Yeah, go ahead,
All
bro.
right. This is how stupid everyone is, and they're jumping to freaking conclusions. Um, Jesus Christ, what's our GM's name? I already fucking forgot because I'm about to
Howie
go on. Or
or is it Dombrowski? Which one?
Dombrowski,
Okay.
Jesus, Dombrowski. He said that they're not gonna, the team has enough stars that they need. That's basically what they said. And then everyone took it and ran with it as if they're not making any moves. We're running it all back. You don't need superstars at every fucking position. Just because he said we have enough stars doesn't mean he's not going to get quality players to fill in left field or center field, more pitching. You don't need superstars to win a World Series. The 2008 Phillies proved that. The 2022 Phillies proved that by getting to the World Series. It's just so asinine that, especially like WIP, is just fueling the fire to this
They,
shit.
they need depth, and I think that's what he was saying. Like you got to
Yes.
have and yes, one of these guys might be, whether it's Bohm, whether it's Stott, one of those guys could be on the move, possibly if it brings them more like because they're not going to get rid of the $300 million guys, so they're not getting rid
No,
of Turner, they're not getting rid of Harper.
if they get rid of
Uh,
anyone, it's going to be Bohm.
Schwarber's on his last year of his deal, so well, the season coming up,
Yeah.
and Castellanos still uh in his deal, so those guys aren't going to go anywhere. So yeah, I mean, he's not going to give away all the he's not going to give away all the secrets right now. And you also can't make too many promises either because you don't
Hmm.
know how free agency is going to go. You don't know what opportunities are going to be faced, like they're going to be faced with. Like, you never know which player wants out randomly in the
No.
summer. And then, oh, look, we can get this guy or, that like a person you didn't think you could get. So you
Yeah.
don't, it's also a leverage thing. Like, you can't.
Yeah, so I was about to bring that up. Dombrowski's not going to throw all his cards on the table before free agency or any trades come about, because then if he looks desperate for more stars, that drives up the price for everything.
Exactly, especially if you got Scott Boras people that you're trying to sign because he's trying to get every damn dollar. And if you let it be known that you need that, he's going to play that against you until you give in. So, like, I don't understand. See, this is the thing. I agree with you. I don't take much from these. Like, I don't know what people want people to say, especially in like the end of the season press conference. I don't know what you want these people to say, the coach or the GM or the owner. Like it's like people want them to say they're disappointed because people want to feel like they're feeling just like we are. And then they want to hear the encouragement of, "Oh yeah, we're going to do everything we can." I mean, they've shown they'll do what they need to do. The owner
Hmm.
doesn't mind spending money, but like you said, have you're not going to have a superstar at every position. So, that's where I think also leads into this, our damn football team. And
No. Hmm.
I've felt like that for a while. And I know we live in a prism of, we listen to WIP, maybe sometimes the Fanatics, very rarely, but like we live in this prism, and I feel like the host, obviously, because this is a Philadelphia station and everything, it sometimes it feels like these guys don't pay attention to anything outside of Philly, right? And I get it. There's a lot going on. There's four sports. There's a lot of things going on around the city always when it comes to sports. Uh, but the one thing that I always said, like, no team in this league, when in football, is perfect. Every team has deficiencies or a weak position because once again, you can't pay you for top-notch players, you need to pay them. There's a cap
Hmm.
for a reason, and you're gonna have to pick and choose where your deficiencies are at, and you're gonna have to have good coaching to get around it. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
that's where, as much as people hate it, and I'm to an extent I'm starting to come around a little bit, but as much as people hate it, they've always, not really cared or spend a lot of resources at linebacker and safety.
Hmm.
That's just how they roll. They roll like that. You know what I mean? And that's
Oh
how
yeah.
they've always done it. That's their philosophy, and it's worked. I hate I hate to burst everybody's bubble. It's worked.
Yeah. I
They
mean,
have gotten really lucky. A couple of times drafting a third rounder, Jordan Hicks, Kendricks, and those guys worked out for a little bit, but they're not going to re-sign them. It's not in
hmm
their thing to do. And yes, they'll have a moment where they'll spend a little bit of money on safety. They signed Malcolm, they signed Rodney. Those guys were here for a while. They won a title, but it's
hmm
not. They're not gonna. I mean, I wish they would spend a little bit more on linebacker, but I'm
That'd
not
be nice.
adamant. I'm not adamant about it like people get adamant about it. Every team, not every team is deep. It's hard. It's 53 spots, and all these people cost money, which is kind of like the same thing with a major league roster, which is less people, and you got to have 26 now because they added an extra player.
Hmm.
You got to decide whether you want to have more pitchers than players, or you want to even it out, or however, or you want to have more players than pitchers. And nowadays, because there's not that many really crazy good starters. I mean, you guys have one of them, is Zach Wheeler, but
Hmm.
everybody else after that, unfortunately, Nola is hit or miss sometimes. Um, Christopher is young, Sanchez. I like
Yep.
um, I like what's his name, but he had kind of a down season. He was hurt. He was
Oh,
doing good
Ranger.
until he got hurt, Ranger. But like, this is another thing. Back to the Phillies. The one thing that's gotten on my nerves the whole time, and I get it. T- Taijuan Walker's bad, but there's nobody you can go around the league. There's nobody in this league that has a great starting rotation, like full five. Nobody has a full five.
Mm-mm.
Like it's always a rotation of the fifth guy. Some people do a six-man rotation because it's just not good enough. And you guys for the most part are lucky enough that you got two guys, even though like Nola has his moments. But you got two guys at the top where some people don't have anything. Like, and sometimes you got to get lucky. Look at the Mets. I don't think the Mets are better than the teams that they're
No, they're
than the
definitely not.
Phillies. Like on paper, I don't think they're better than the Phillies, but they beat the Phillies. They were hot. Like um all year, the Brewers were really good. The Mets were hot. They're clicking at the right time. They beat the Brewers. They beat the Phillies. Now they're down right now as we're recording in game four. So they might go down 3-1 after tonight, but like at some point, it's just sometimes it's just luck and a run. And it doesn't mean like it's like you said. Remember that time like 3 years ago when you were like so calm as a fan, and I asked you in a text message like, "Why are you so calm?" It's like, "Well, they're playing with house money. Like we didn't expect them to do this." 2020, what,
Oh, the
22?
22.
Yeah, and they made it to the World Series, and like, and then
Hmm.
like, listen, some of these things happen when you're not expecting it, especially here. And I don't know, there's so much history here of that in Philly where it happens like that. Like nobody thought 2017 was going to be what it was. I
No.
remember going into it and like everybody had like, oh, I think they're gonna be okay. Like, and then they went on a run. Like, it's it's just sports. It really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so I haven't going to the football game. I haven't gotten a chance because I've been busy to watch the all 22. But because and also my mind was somewhere else because everybody's mind was somewhere else. Nobody cared that they won, really. Well, they did for a moment. And then our coach did something that I'm not really freaking out about. I don't know how you feel, but I'm not really freaking out about, but I also have like a kind of rant about that.
His like, dude, you are a head coach in the National Football League. You okay, your players say they want to see Nick. They want to see the Nick back, the fiery Nick. Okay, that's fine. I'm fine with your antics. But why are you directing it at the most nasty fans, your own fan base in the NFL? What the hell are you doing? Dude,
I'll tell you what he's doing. Keep going, and I'll say the
you're
next thing.
chirping at Eagles Nation. What do you like? Are you kidding me? You just took away a win, like focus on a win and Jalen playing good. Just the team playing well. In the second half, the offense played good. The defense played good. You just took all that away, the focus away from all that onto you. Like that's kind of embarrassing, especially when you got the national media like saying like this guy's a joke and it's disgusting and embarrassing. Like,
Well,
come on, dude.
I'm glad you said that at the end because that's where I was gonna lead, right? And I'm gonna be honest with everyone in Philadelphia and Eagles fans who might stumble across this podcast. You're mad at Nick because Nick is you. Nick is you.
He is.
Nick is you. So you're mad, right? Because you're not gonna tell me that you're gonna like you act so accordance to anything when you're getting at an Eagles game. There's a reason why there's always a jail. There's a jail at every stadium that has been built. Like, let's relax. You're mad at Nick because he's you, and also you're mad at Nick. And the point that you said that led me to this, you're mad at Nick because the one thing that Philly fans fear, and I've broke this down for years to people. The one thing that my fellow Philly fans, not me, but most of the rest of the people, hate is being embarrassed. And that's the thing. They don't, that's them. They probably would have done the same thing he did, unfortunately. But guess what? It got caught on TV. And now, guess what?
Mhm.
People are saying, oh, that is embarrassing. And who's saying it? The national media, right? And guess what? Philly fans don't like to be embarrassed on national media. So they're pissed, okay? Because that is the one thing that we can talk shit on ourselves, but don't let everybody else talk shit because then it's an issue. And
Mhm.
now, because they're talking shit, and now we look like the bad organization because our coach did that, a clown. And then guess what? Everybody around the nation is talking about it. And guess what? You're mad. You're mad. You're upset. But you're also upset because this is you. It's you. It's you. Nick is you. If he wasn't coaching your team, he would be your best friend for most of you. He's the guy. He's your best friend
Probably.
sitting in section 115 next to you, 2 rows down. That's Nick. Nick's not from here, but he he would
He's very
fits in
Delco.
great.
He's very Delco.
Yeah, he's Delco. He's listen. That haircut wasn't great. I don't know
Huh.
like what he was going for,
I
but
think he was going for Britney Spears. He might be
I
going
mean,
for a
right
mental
now I feel like
breakdown.
my hair is long enough that I want to chop it off, and I feel like going full Nick right now because it's a little longer than I wanted to, and I start to want to rip it off. But like, it's just not a good look. But yeah, I agree to an extent. It's not a good look, but I'm not making a big deal about it. At the end of the day, like they got to win, and I'm not in this. And I already told you this, but I'm not in this boat that people are, or this wagon that people are that like how non-impressive it was. Like, I'm gonna be honest with people, completely honest with you. This is how I know people and some of these hosts don't watch football. Okay, outside from Philly, they just look at records and see maybe clips of things. The only issue with the Cleveland Browns this year is their quarterback is dog shit, and it showed on
Mhm.
offense. And I'm sorry, he's dog shit. He he's in his head. He can't do a damn thing. And yes, that helped our defense, but I think it's a motivator because they can do that to Daniel Jones because Daniel Jones isn't great either. Like, yes, the Giants have won a couple games that we thought they weren't going to win, but the Giants are beatable. Like,
Mhm.
this is, afternoon show today. As I'm going to work, the little bit I heard, and I had to turn it off right after. Spike is flipping out about talking all nervous about the Giants defensive line to a caller, and the caller was like shutting him down. It's like, oh, big Dex, I'm supposed to be scared of him, and he was like, well, he has 7 sacks. It's like, yeah, Dexter Lawrence is good, but the Eagles have done fine against him.
Mhm.
Besides the field goal block, they were fine against Myles Garrett. Like this
Yeah,
is
you didn't hear much. I don't think you heard much of him.
this is the I don't understand why people doubt the line. I get that Mailata is probably going to be out for like at least a week or
I
so.
think
But
it's gonna be he's was it yesterday? Mariota was on. I
he
think
was
it's
on
gonna be a
both.
couple. It's gonna be a couple weeks.
Yeah. So like, what was he on the players lounge? Is that what it was? I think because sometimes he shows up on.
No, it was on the afternoon show with Spike and
Okay. Yeah. Well, on Mondays they have like that players lounge at Chickies, and sometimes he shows up as one of the players that goes in. Him or
he called
Brandon Graham.
he called in.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, so yeah, and what are coaches gonna do? A smart defensive coach is gonna put their best pass rusher over there on Fred Johnson. But guess what? Like, I'm sure Jeff Stoutland has a plan. I don't ever doubt that. People
Mm-mm.
do, and it's it's annoying to me that people have this doubt. But the Cleveland Browns, even though they are 1-5 now, their biggest problem is they don't have a quarterback. He has
Yep.
plenty of weapons. He has a good tight end. He had Amari Cooper until he got traded 2 days ago.
Yeah.
But he had Jerry Judy, Elijah Moore. Those are weapons. He hasn't.
Eh,
He
Jerry
hasn't.
Judy, I don't know.
Well, he's gotten a second chance. Now he's going to be the number one. He was. It was a mess over there in Denver. So like, I haven't fully given up. I don't think he's going to be like the superstar, but he can be a good receiver. Like in the league.
Yeah.
And being the number two to Amari Cooper, I was waiting for that to blossom, but forgot that, Deshaun Watson is just washed up now. And, there's something going on in his head. We know what it is.
Mm.
Like, we can assume we know what it is, but
He's
like,
not getting any more rub and tugs.
no, yeah. But the biggest problem, the narrative me and you talked about, oh, they only beat them by 4. Is the worst team in the NFL. They're not the worst team in the NFL. Have you seen
Oh,
Carolina? Carolina's the worst team in the NFL. Have you seen the Raiders? The Raiders are pretty bad. Like,
yeah.
there's a bunch of teams that are pretty bad. Like Cleveland and Jacksonville are like two of the most talented teams, but they're 1-5. Both
Yeah.
teams. And it's just things haven't gone their way. Unfortunately. I don't know what the issue is in Jacksonville. We're not going to get into that.
Receivers can't catch the ball.
Well, that too, except Brian Thomas. Brian Thomas catch the ball, but um, I think if this continues, Doug might be fired. But that's just another story. Um, and Cleveland dealt Amari Cooper. I don't think they're giving up, but they Cleveland dug a hole for themselves because they gave him all this guaranteed money. So it's going to be hard for them to get rid of it of
Hmm.
him, or even try to cut him. And also, people who do this, owners, GMs who do these type of moves, they're stubborn and they don't want to be wrong. Cutting him or benching him admits that you're wrong, that you were wrong, and
Yeah.
people with money don't want to be wrong because they made the investment. And it's so yeah, like I think I think there's this thing where people I get it. Our offense on paper is loaded, and I get that. But once again, here we go. Our star tight end hurt again. Hurt again.
Yep.
He's gonna be out a week or two, probably.
Hmm. Yeah.
And it's like I love Dallas, but when's the last time he played a full season?
Couldn't tell you.
Exactly.
I don't think he's ever played full season.
And every time he gets the ball, as exciting as it is, it's like I feel like he's a tackle away from being hurt.
Hmm.
And like,
I don't know. Calcaterra looked pretty good.
yeah, well, Calcaterra is, he was really good coming out of college. He just wasn't like top, you know what I mean? And also like he took a year off because he kind of retired and then came back for like his like senior year. And then,
Hmm.
but yeah, I mean, they're not. And then there's a couple people who might come off IR. Um, and we'll see. Tomorrow's usually when the Eagles make some of those moves. Uh, Usually Wednesday night, but it'll be tomorrow. Like, well, I'll see because now with the 4 week rule, it could be a chance depending on how bad Mailata is. They could put him on there and then get some people back because you kind of have to work the. I think some of these IRs are just to work out spots because Sidney Brown is close to coming back.
Yep.
Well, he's already in his 21-day window. Those windows are open for him. They're open for Anais Smith, who they drafted the receiver. But obviously, if the 21-day window runs out, they have to make a decision: put them on the roster, or you got to put them back on IR. So uh, it's tough. I thought they were going to elevate one of those guys, but they signed Paris Campbell,
Hmm.
and now they're going to have to make. I think Sydney's going to play. I think if they might redshirt Smith and give him a fake injury, but
Maybe.
um, we'll see because it's weird like the way the roster moves. But yeah, that was my thing. People need to stop freaking out about this win. They
Hmm.
could end up being they could end up being fine by the time they play the Cowboys in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And it could be a 6-2 record or 5-2 going into the Cowboys game. Like, yes, Cincinnati has a bad record. That's another team I forgot that has a bad record that's pretty good. Except their defense is pretty bad this year. So there's a thing. And I know people are gonna harp on that when they come to play the Bengals. And it's gonna be like, oh, you couldn't score against the Bengals. Like, listen, we'll see. But the games that they got coming up, they're beatable. I think the only game that's kind of like every game is beatable because it's Giants, Bengals, then Cowboys, then the Jags.
Yeah.
And like I mean, these are winnable games. I don't know what people are talking about. All those teams are beatable. They've shown that. And yes, I get that people are discouraged by everything you're saying, but it's the thing that I brought up in the chat, in our chat. I want people to take a look at this all 22. I'm probably before the next game, I'm going to watch the Browns all 22, but I did watch the Buccaneers all 22 2 weeks ago, and I was ready to talk about it, but things came up.
Yeah.
Um,
Shit happens.
yeah, but there is a lot of times when I'm watching the all 22, especially on offense, where the these routes that they're running a lot of times like take a while to develop. And then like it's
Yeah,
like
you
all the
sent that clip that or who sent? Was it you or was it?
no, that was P. He sent the it was the chart for AJ for the other day's game.
Yeah.
Um so everything honestly, everything is like it seems like it's long developing. Uh like I said in our own private chat, like I was so happy when they ran a crossing route and it worked to perfection. And it's not the first time because that Dallas Goddard like big run against the Saints, in that final drive that got them like the lead. That was another crossing route, and they've been really good at those double crossing routes that catches one of the DBs like in traffic,
Yeah.
and that's how they get open. They've been really good because if you look at it on tape, they're not getting in like the way they're kind of like they're not even touching the person like on Devontae's thing. I think it was Calcaterra who was crossing the other way, and he just kind of did like a little like shimmy uh on like the defender that was coming and
Hmm.
like and then just kept like running his route. And they've been really good at that. So they just need to run more of those things. They need to run,
Yeah.
like I said, I don't think I've seen a slant in a while from this team.
I,
I
I
can't.
don't know who's coming up with the game plan.
That's the thing.
Like,
I don't know. I think
that's my issue. Like, you know what? Let Kellen Moore come up with the game plan.
this is my theory. I've said this for a while. I think that the people in charge, not talking about coaching, I'm talking about the people who run this team, Jeffrey, Howie, those two people have a lot more influence on this team than people give them credit. Um, whether they hide it a lot, and guess what? None of these coaches are going to come out and say this out loud because the NFL is about relationships, and you can get blackballed by if you reveal some of the secrets. You know what I mean? But I think that
Yeah.
they control a lot of like when they go to hire coaches, they have like a preset thing of what they're looking for, like the type of defense they want them to play, like
Hmm.
the type of offense they want them to play. That's why they're very similar to each other. The last couple coaches, well, maybe not Chip, but like Doug and Nick, a lot of this stuff looks similar
Yeah.
to an extent. And it's just like I think they have a template of what they're looking for, and they're going to hire guys that kind of follow the thing. You know what I mean? Like they hired Nick. Nick brought over, uh, my man. I forget his name right now. Gannon, and
Yes.
Gannon's scheme was a mix of Fangio and also Zimmer's, and then they hired a Fangio guy last year because
Yeah.
they wanted to hire Fangio, but Gannon's move to Arizona took longer, so he went and signed. But Fangio wanted to be here; they wanted him here, and it just took a year. But
Hmm.
I think from the top there is a. This is just my thoughts. I'm not saying that I know this for a fact. It just feels like there's a template that they want people to follow, and they want to hire coaches that want to do what they think, how they think, like their analytics and their philosophies that they have up top, how they feel a game should be won. Because I'm telling you, they believe you you pass to get ahead, you run to win. So they only run when they need to. It's the philosophy. But you got to get ahead by passing. And that's why on certain times they come out of the gate, one run and then pass, you know?
But it's like all long passes. So like just trying
That's
to
what
air
I'm
it
saying.
out. Like,
I'm
stop. Just,
I'm gonna I'm gonna
you know what? How about
challenge.
this? Throw in a little bit of West Coast offense, little dink and dunks, and let them.
There's nothing wrong with that. And like I dare people to watch all 22 seriously and look at these routes. A lot of the plays are called. I'm not saying they're all deep shots, they're all go routes, but they're long, like like 10, almost 10-yard, like in routes, out routes. Like it's like long developing. It in the fumble against Tampa where Levante Davis strip uh hurts, and I don't know what people want him to do. I guess he could have tucked it and ran, but he had Calcaterra, and that's where he was gunning it. You know what I mean? And that's where he was
Yeah.
lining up to throw it. And he had a window, Calcaterra, and that was a long route. Everybody went go on that play. And he
Hmm.
happened to be in between the safety and whoever like the linebacker was. And Hertz had the window. He was looking to gun it there. And yes, everybody he needs to have more awareness. Even Tom like said it. So if Tom says it, like, yeah, but like I don't understand what you want him to do. Like just I guess run. But like he was getting ready to gun it at the only open
Hmm.
receiver he had. Like, and yeah, like he got stripped, but I don't know that that's completely like his fault. Like, he can't, he can't zip it, like, have a short motion to get it down the field that long.
Yeah. No.
So, I mean, I don't know. With certain things, yes, I'm not trying to absolve him from a lot of like the problems that he's had. yes, the turnovers are an issue. The Some of them aren't his, but they go down on his stats, and that's what happens with a quarterback. You get the blame, you get the congratulations when they win, you get the blame when they lose. You know what I mean? And even if you
Mhm.
win, if it's not impressive enough, you get the blame too. So
Yep.
but I don't listen. If they come out like, listen, everybody just wants because of the names for this offense to just. I get it. They do need to score in the first quarter. I don't understand what that's about, but like I get that. I'm not flipping out about it, but I do think that they need to get at least start getting at least a touchdown in the first quarter. But
They have to.
I think that I said it at the beginning of the season. I think that Fangio, especially being a new coordinator, his defense is going to warm up as long as people stay healthy. It's going to warm up. It happened the year before Miami. Miami's defense finished a lot better than what it started. And even with this weird start that the Eagles defense has had, they've been really good in the red zone. Like they're one of the top like
Lockdown.
top six. Like they in the red zone, they don't really allow. Like, I think they've only allowed like two touchdowns, maybe three.
Not many.
Like, but it's like three out of like whatever. But they're really good where it matters, which at the end of the day is the red zone. Like,
Hmm.
but they've kept, like people said, they've kept the offense in the game. Like
Yeah.
a lot of those situations when it comes to like when the offense makes a dumb mistake, but they are they're gonna warm up. And my favorite thing about this Sunday that just happened, besides the fact that we got back on the winning column, is seeing those two rookies because they're the future be out there, and I I love those two guys so far, and they swapped jerseys. This is the first start for both of them. That was cool.
Oh yeah, they
You hear
did.
about that?
I think I did.
Quignon and I think your cousin, yeah, shared it. He was at Tennessee this week. I didn't even know until he started putting up videos.
Oh yeah, yeah. He was there visiting the school, and then yeah, they went to the game.
Ah, it's visiting school time. Oh,
Yep.
we're getting old. But yeah, man, everybody needs to stop freaking out, man. It's always so much panic around here. And that's just my final thoughts. Stop freaking out. Watch the Flyers because this is probably like the most enjoyable you're going to see them because it's just to start the season. And they haven't done anything to piss you off and you don't have any expectations about it. So
Oh,
uh,
I got a lot of expectations
I don't. I'm
with
gonna be honest with you.
Mitchkov.
You go watch Puck Talk for my opinions on the Flyers. Uh, they, they'll,
Mitchkov, baby.
he's gonna be good. He is going to be good, and I'm glad about that. But I they'll probably be the eighth seed. They're gonna be like last year. They're gonna fight.
All you gotta
They're
do
gonna
is
fight
get
every
in.
game, and they're gonna probably sneak in as the eighth seed.
What back in
But I
2010?
like where they're going.
The
They're up two
Flyers,
one right
the
now.
Flyers, yeah. Scotty's
Two.
got two
I can't
goals.
get it to play on my damn screen.
Yeah,
So
Sky Lawton's got 2 goals.
yeah, well, good for Scotty. It's my guy.
Um,
Well, guys, relax, enjoy Sunday, 1 o'clock against those Giants, and they got Daniel Jones. That's just what you got to remember, and it'll be fine.
Danny Jones.
Yep. All right, guys.
All right.
Peace out.
Peace.